Just before 8 in the morning, 3 gigawatts of data center load vanished from America's largest power grid in a matter of seconds. And people felt it from Washington to Chicago. Lights flickered, appliances buzzed, and the biggest machine in the country shuddered. And while engineers steadied the wires, a Michigan town moved to put a billion-dollar data center to a public vote. A Kentucky courtroom weighed who even has the right to fight one. And nearly $20 billion locked onto a single Texas campus. We begin on the wires of America's largest power grid. At about 7:55 Wednesday morning, a transmission line in Northern Virginia, the data center capital of the world, went out of service. In response, the automated control systems inside dozens of data centers did exactly what they were designed to do. They unplugged from the grid and switched to backup power. All at once. PJM Interconnection, which serves 67 million people from Washington to Chicago, watched more than 3 gigawatts of demand vanish in an instant. Roughly 3% of everything the grid was carrying at that moment. The result was a voltage disturbance felt across the region. Customers reported flickering lights and strange noises from air conditioners and refrigerators. Dominion Energy says its operators stabilized the system within minutes. And reliability was never lost, but the message was unmistakable. Data centers are now big enough to shake the grid itself. While engineers steadied the wires, the political voltage kept rising. And in southeast Michigan, it's headed straight to the ballot box. In Augusta Township, in Washtenaw County, voters will decide on August 4th whether to overturn the rezoning of 522 acres of farmland for a $1 billion data center proposed by New York City developer Thor Equities. The township board approved the rezoning unanimously, even though its own planning commission had recommended denial. Furious residents formed Protect Augusta Charter Township, gathered enough petition signatures to force a referendum, and are warning about utility rates, energy reliability, noise, and air pollution. A yes vote upholds the industrial rezoning. A no vote repeals it and stops the project cold. And the fight doesn't end there. Organizers are now collecting signatures to recall every member of the township board in November. One rural township, one ballot question, $1 billion on the line. That kind of opposition is now testing the courts. And in Kentucky, the fight has turned into something bigger than one data center. In Simpson Circuit Court, Judge Mark Thurmond heard oral arguments over whether Franklin Citizens for Responsible Development can even challenge the Planning Commission's approval of Tenke Landco's data center. 3 massive buildings planned on about 147 acres along Steel Road in Franklin. Tenke's attorney, Gregory Dutton, argued the case should be thrown out entirely, pointing to a 2025 amendment to Kentucky law that says only people who own property in the same zoning district as a project can appeal a planning decision. The citizens group fired back that the law itself is unconstitutional, because it decides who gets access to the courts based on zoning lines rather than who is actually harmed. The judge took the motions under advisement. Whatever he rules could shape who gets to fight data centers across Kentucky. And it isn't just power and permits. Water has become the flashpoint. And in Virginia's Roanoke Valley, a water authority is fighting a number it says is simply wrong. The Western Virginia Water Authority issued a public statement pushing back on claims, spreading fast through the community, that it authorized Google to draw 11 million gallons of water a day for its Botetourt County data center. The authority calls that misinformation. The legally binding agreement, executed in October of 2025, caps Google's initial supply at no more than 2 million gallons per day. Yes, a 10 to 11 million gallon proposal did surface during early negotiations in 2024. and the authority says it flatly rejected it. Down the road, Google can request up to 8 million gallons a day in total. But only if the authority can still meet demand for every other customer in the service area. In the data center era, even the rumors need fact-checking. Washington is taking notice of all of it. And on Capitol Hill, something rare just happened. Total agreement. The House Energy and Commerce Committee voted 52-0 to advance H.R. 9340, a bill designed to shield everyday ratepayers from the soaring grid costs of data center growth. The lead sponsors come from both parties. Republican Gabe Evans of Colorado and Democrat Kathy Castor of Florida. And the measure sailed through alongside 5 other bills aimed at modernizing the nation's power grid. The core idea is simple. As utilities spend billions on new lines, substations, and generation to serve gigawatt-scale customers, those costs should land on the data centers driving them, not on families' monthly electric bills. In a Congress that agrees on almost nothing, protecting ratepayers from the AI build-out drew every single vote in the room. The bill now heads toward the House floor. Yet despite the regulatory wave, construction pressure keeps building, and in North Carolina, a project the courts knocked down is climbing back into the ring. In Stokes County, Engineered Land Solutions, led by President Drew Nations, has filed a brand new rezoning application for the hyperscale data center known as Project Delta. Near Walnut Cove, county commissioners originally approved the rezoning back in January, but a legal challenge got that decision voided, forcing the developer to start over from scratch. The new application tries to answer the objections head-on. It addresses noise limits, generator placement, cooling systems and water infrastructure, floodplain restrictions, lighting, building heights, and buffer areas. County officials say the review will take months. Staff analysis first, then 30 days at the planning board, then a public hearing before commissioners. The prize the county is weighing: an estimated $40 million in annual tax revenue. Round 2 starts now. And developers aren't just building new, they're converting what already exists. And in Michigan, a Bitcoin mine is being reborn as an AI powerhouse. Hyperscale Data, through its subsidiary Alliance Cloud Services, has executed its first master services agreement with a California-based neocloud provider. A deal expected to be worth roughly $1.2 billion. The plan: retrofit about 60,000 square feet of the company's Michigan campus, once devoted to cryptocurrency mining, into 20 megawatts of critical AI compute capacity, with service expected online in the fourth quarter of this year. The contract carries expansion rights up to 52 megawatts, plus a separate provision for another 32. And if everything is exercised and extended, total revenue could surpass $3 billion over 2 decades. Phase 1 alone means $100 to $120 million in capital spending. The Bitcoin era built the shell. The AI era is moving in. And the money behind all of this keeps getting bigger. Which brings us to our kicker. On the Texas Gulf Coast, Hut 8 has fully commercialized its 1 gigawatt Beacon Point campus in Nueces County by signing a second 15-year lease worth $9.8 billion. The tenant, the same high investment grade company that took Phase 1, has now doubled its contracted capacity to 704 megawatts, locking in a campus-level contract value of $19.6 billion. If every renewal option is exercised, that number climbs past $50 billion. The new phase will be built as an AI factory designed to NVIDIA's reference architecture for gigawatt-scale infrastructure, with the first data hall expected in the second quarter of 2028. Hut 8's stock jumped by double digits on the news. Communities are voting, courts are weighing, and the grid itself is groaning. But on the ground in Texas, the AI build-out just signed another $20 billion chapter. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment. It helps us cover more of these stories.